Hey there, welcome back in Jayburg. As you can see, I haven't changed the major things, but I've added another part of the new buildings center, new city part, and I just noticed I have added two more high schools, but they don't get water connection yet. We have to fix that. Okay, so I also built kind of an education hub with a university, which with Modern Technology Institute, which is also university level. As this one is getting almost full, and we are getting more people living in the city, more people finishing their high school education soon, so I expect those universities to fill up in the next 1 or 2 years. I'm just preparing the road, the water connections already, so that I don't have to remember them if I extend this area. So this is mostly living area, but I've also mixed in some offices and some commercial districts, especially at the main roads. I still don't use any kind of public transport, which is something I need to add eventually. And I think this is going to be a tram lines on the main roads now. Oh, there's a building on fire right now. Fire department is already there. Great. We do have some traffic issues on this crossing from the bridge, which is not really unexpected. I said in advance that this is going to happen. There's a crossing here, there's a crossing here, and this one is the big crossing to the new part of the city. So this is expected that we are getting in traffic trouble. This is something for a later episode to fix, I think. At the moment, this is still working fine. And the next part is what I've been looking forward to since I started playing on this map, or why I created the map, is to create realistic, I hope, harbor area in this part of the city. And we will need to connect that, hopefully in a smart way. We will most likely need a bridge over here, so people who live here can come to work in the harbor industrial area. We will need a connection from this industry. I've already had emptied a space for the road connection over here. I'm not sure if I can squeeze in somehow a connection from this industrial area, but actually I would need one. And then we have the main issue that we don't own this tile yet, so we will have to somehow cross the river up here probably, or maybe I will use this one to cross the river. No, but I want the connection to the train system, and I want a connection to the highway system, so this needs to be really a wide area. Maybe we will have to tear down parts of this industrial area or move it closer to there. So this is going to be a longer project, and if you've looked at my last video, that turned out much longer than I initially had hoped or thought. And one of the reasons was I kept talking while I was building, and this is maybe not the smartest idea. Then I cannot really speed up the video. So I will try to not to talk too much and just show you how I'm going to build that part of the city now. Yeah, well, I recorded the build and now you see the speed up video. The first thing I tried is to work with canals, because I think it's usually not realistic to have the harbor directly on the river. I figured out that I cannot build harbors on a canal, so this was the first disappointment. However, I continued working out a canal system, because I think this is happening in a lot of harbor areas. In general, I would say that harbors are much too small in city skylines compared to how they look in real life. They are huge terminals, multiple terminals, and I'm trying to build exactly something like it could be on real life. I had to use a lot of landscaping after that because I couldn't build in the harbor in a canal. So I dug out holes in the island. Yeah, I tried this one as well, get the water from the canal into such a hole. Didn't work out, so I had to put it back again. And I finally made 2 major holes for harbors, for where the cargo terminals will be. And there's a lot of back and forth for the landscaping, because I've used a lot of soil. I removed a lot of soil, and I had to get rid of that soil, and I used it on another part of the city to raise that part a bit above the river levels. You will see in the next few minutes, you will see that I've kept experimenting where to place the harbors, how do I have to dig out those holes, and which ones to close again. And so there was a lot of back and forth, and the whole area took me now about 2 hours, I think, to build. And this should be about 20 minutes in speed up time. Or yeah, there's a lot of experimenting. Where does it fit? Which angle does it come in? I've used harbors, simple harbors, and then the cargo terminal was built-in train line. And after doing a lot of landscaping in paused mode, I had a major flood for a few seconds when I restarted the game. And then I evened out the holes where I wanted to put the harbors. And now you can see 2 harbors on this side and 2 harbors, including one with train connection on the other side. So it's a total of 4 terminals. And since I started that part with the canals, I expanded the canal system, where usually inside a harbor goods are being transported from the international harbor where it arrives to storage warehouses. This is often done with ships as well, or with small boats. And so I came up with a canal system that I think looks more realistic as a harbor than just a plain cargo terminal as it is built in city skylines. Yeah, as you can see, the next step was just connecting everything with water, which also wasn't quite easy to get under the canals. The canals were rather steep, so I had to find a good spot to connect the water lines, so the canalization system below the canal. And I'm basically making a layout that already covers the whole island. So also the upper part that I'm not going to finish building right away. And after covering the water system, I started putting in roads, streets between the canals, where warehouses would be, where industry will be. Lots of angled streets along the canal lines, along the river. So this is way off any kind of grid system. I'm really curious how it's going to turn out traffic-wise, because there's a lot of small roads, and I don't think it's gonna be too complicated because there will be a lot of trucks, but they are mostly driving from one place to the other, and this will somehow even out between the streets. And obviously we need bigger streets to get the traffic into the area and out of the area, but this is going to be something I'm going to do in the next part. Here for the start, I've just connected the single areas between the canals and the harbor, the terminals. Yeah, as you can see, I've put in a lot of details, and at one stage in the future I think I'm going to beautify that area, or actually with a harbor it will be the opposite, making things a bit more realistically ugly, as harbors tend to be. And yeah, well, okay, there's the one harbor I said I've connected with the one harbor that already has a train system in it, the cargo hub. However, I think I think that one train connection to such a large area of industry, that this is going to be is not going to be enough. So you'll see me add some more trains now, and I think I ended up using 3 cargo stations as well, and I'm adding some tracks just for fun, because I think this would also look like this in a harbor, with the option to change trains between, or change cars between trains. So there will be some dead ends that are probably not going to be used anytime in the game itself, just for the looks. Oh yeah, getting bridges over canals proved to be a bit a challenge, because you cannot put in a pillar in the middle of a canal. This would make the canal pointless, of course. So you have to actually just connect from right one end of it to the other one. And I wasn't really sure at this stage where the train lines are going to be, so I had to figure that out while building, and I have removed a couple of things again and redrawn them again. So all of these things are taking a lot of time, but I think this is what is the most enjoyable part of the game. Just watching people is not really the most interesting part for me, but building things in a way that it looks realistic, natural, I don't know how you want to call it. But obviously with the big plan already in my head, and then realizing it step by step in a way that it hopefully works out in the end. And you never know with City Skylines if things are going to work out the way you want them to. Yeah, well, here I am reaching the end of the island, or the connection part to the actual city that we already live in. And now I'm connecting the trains, and the train lines, to the train, no, to the other side of the river. And I will still have to connect the train system, or the rail system, to the rail that is arriving from the outside world. And also here I'm adding in a lot of additional stuff where I'm not sure if it's going to be used in the game, but which I think is really important to make it look more realistic. Yeah, so there's actually a connection between now all parts of trains coming in and trains going out. So trains can actually take different ways in and out as well, just like trucks hopefully will be able to do that. And I will add another cargo station in the upper part of the map. There's 2 cargo stations down there plus the harbor, and now I'm going to add another cargo station right here next to one of the canals, or the last canal part, just to give the industry multiple options as well to use cargo hubs here or there, and maybe even transport cargo from the harbor where it arrives to the upper part of the industry. And also here adding the outgoing train lines or incoming train lines to both ends. I'll have 2 lines crossing the river at the end, and I also would have another connection on the right side of the map, but I cannot access that at the moment. I would have to buy an additional tile, but this would be another option for the future. And as you can see now, I'm adding the highway system. I'm trying to do it in parallel to the train line, because this is also, I think, quite common to have traffic corridors where different traffic is using the same space. And I'm building a couple of exits, although I'm not going to use the ones in the upper part of the map yet, but I'm still already building exits and on-ramps. What you will also see is that I'm adding them on the left side and then one on the right side and back again. This is also to help to steer what the artificial intelligence, the traffic, how the traffic is working in city skylines. Cars are coming onto a highway and then they are moving pretty fast to the lane where they will exit the highway, even if that's long ahead. And so this sometimes leads to blocking one line of the highway when every other lane is empty. And by dividing the traffic into exits on the right and exits on the left side, you already split up the traffic to at least 2 lanes, and also the middle lane is going to be used more regularly in those cases. Yeah, here's the exit or the end of the incoming highway, which I tried to split up, so trucks are going to move in different directions depending on where they want to go in the harbor area. So they have 4 exit options to split up the traffic, and I'm not really sure if things are going to work out as I think they might. We will have to wait and see, and then wait for the map to actually fill up with industry, and then the traffic is going to come, and then we'll probably have to fix issues as they arise, because this is really hard to predict how it ends. Yeah, well, so finally, before we can start having our new area being populated, we need to make some more connections to the outside world. There's those 2 rail lines. One of them I will connect to the old city parts, and that is the one that is only already going lower here. And then I'm trying to find a way to use or to place those bridges in a way that they don't interfere with each other. The railroad bridge needs to be connected to the outside railroad lines, so making connections to both directions here as well. This is also trial and error. I wanted to figure out if I can make two lines and make them interchange, which I then gave up. Then for the second line, I'm going to create or build another cargo hub that is supposed to serve the industrial areas here in the Old Town and also the commercial area. And I'm connecting it under the old highway hub or highway connection that we already had, so it can reach both parts of the industry without interfering with the highway connection. And then connecting the train. For the highway part, I cut out a bit of the video because it was really going back and forth, and the solution I found doesn't really look beautiful, but in the end I think it's going to work the way I hope. So all the exits are in front of the on-ramps. The trucks are going to move off the highway on the first part, and then they are going to move on the highway behind that. This is supposed to help with traffic. So let's have a final look of the area as it is right now. We have an outside train connection connecting to both ends of the train line, and coming in here, this is going to be the left track, and we have a city cargo hub serving our old city, and this is going up here on the right side. So this one is not connected to the outside world at this point, at least. It's only coming in from the harbor area. Outside world could probably use the whole track system to come back, but they would have to pass through the harbor system first to get here. Not sure how this is going to work out, but let's leave it at that for the time being. And this is the city line, this is the external line. Also we have the highway connection coming in on this side, going out on this side, with a couple of exits already prepared on the on-ramps. And to this part we already have the off and the on-ramps, so I think everything would be prepared. The whole train system is connected. Trains can move to harbor and several cargo hubs, and we have more harbors. Well, I'm really curious how things are going to work out. I need to do some zoning now and connect a bit of electricity to all of this, add some services, and then we'll find out in the next video if this is going to work. I hope I'll see you again, and I'd appreciate any kind of comment and likes and subscriptions for my channel, of course. I hope to talk to you soon. Bye.